What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, where today I want to discuss 3 potential map ideas for Black Ops 4 based off of things we've already seen. If you do go on to enjoy the video, then please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more daily content. So to start this video off, I want to talk about something that a lot of people have been theorising in the past 8 months or so, which is the idea of Black Ops 4 coming out with 2 maps on the disc, one of which being a Mob of the Dead remaster. We have a lot of reasons to think that somewhere inside of Black Ops 4 will feature a Mob of the Dead remaster. The main clue that was given to us was by Jason Blundell when he was interviewed by JC Backfire, when JC asked, "Why is Mob of the Dead not in Zombie Chronicles?" which Jason replied with something along the lines of, "There's another purpose for Mob." This sent the community crazy as people were coming up with a bunch of different theories for what Jason could have meant. The main one being that, similar to Black Ops 3 with the Giant, we will have Mob of the Dead remastered as one of the maps on disc. We also have connections that will lead the storyline people to also believe that Mob of the Dead remastered will be returning. Mob of the Dead is one of the paramount maps in all the zombies, and Zombie Chronicles brought back maps mainly based off of their storyline importance, yet Mob of the Dead was still not there. Mob of the Dead connects to Shadows of Evil, which is another important map, as it introduced so many things to us that we saw subsequent to the rest of Black Ops 3, including the Apothecans and the Shadow Man, both of which are literally the main part of Shadows. Without the Apothecans, Shadows of Evil is nothing. Everything inside of Shadows is Apothecan related in some way. And like I say, every map since Shadows of Evil, we've seen some sign of Apothecans, though it wasn't anywhere near as prevalent as it was in Shadows of Evil. So Shadows of Evil is a very important map. Being connected to Mob of the Dead makes Mob of the Dead just as important. There are a lot of questions surrounding Mob of the Dead, and one that I can think of in the time of recording this video is the basement underneath of Mob of the Dead. We hear inside of the 6th issue of the zombie comic, as well as on the massive timeline that we have, Mob of the Dead has a basement underneath it, and Richtofen in the comic uses it to put the transit crew inside of 4 pods to keep them in a status, ready to be awoken at some point in time. Though I sort of don't want to see the transit crew return, this makes perfect sense for us to have Mob of the Dead on release, and for the first Easter egg of Black Ops 4 to have us save or wake up the transit crew from these pods that Richtofen put them in. During the last page of the comic, just after the transit crew were put into the pods, the Zetsubou characters arrive into this basement underneath of Mob of the Dead, which is at the point during the ending cutscene when the characters teleport and come back. During this time, they teleport to this point in the comic and they straight up see the 4 transit characters and ask, "Who are the guys in the pods?" Richtofen replies with, "They are just some old friends. Don't worry, just like you, they are safe." So our crew full well knows that these characters are underneath of Alcatraz, and I think that maybe the Easter egg will be of our crew trying to rescue the transit crew to find out more. Also, at the end of the 6th comic, we have a mastered Mob of the Dead loading screen image, so this further tells us that we are most likely going to be seeing Mob of the Dead at some point in the future. The next map that is a very big possibility and very well discussed in the community is London. Again, we have had direct links for a London map being in our next Zombies game for so long now, and I'm talking mainly about Der Eisendrache here. Der Eisendrache is coming up on being 2 years old on February 2nd. And for this entire time, we've had hints towards a London map, from newspapers talking about a parade in London, and another one being headlined, "Reports of Zombie Attacks in London, Officials Not Confirming." To get the 3rd newspaper in Der Eisendrache, you have to do an Easter egg with the plunger, where you need to melee a panzer, then melee 1 zombie, and the newspaper changes to "Zombies Attack in the Heart of London." This is important as we are literally being told that London is a big possibility for a map in Black Ops 4. Because the Eisendrache has a lot of time travel elements with the Easter egg, and the way you get this plunger melee weapon is to travel back in time to then travel back to the present, it's theorised that this plunger is actually sending zombies from the Eisendrache to London. And if this is the case, then if we do go to London, that will be happening during the same time as the Eisendrache when you're time travelling. Some other key points to remember about this London map idea: these 3 newspapers were duplicated and placed on Moon Remaster. Dr. Monty has an English accent, yet we've never been to England inside of Zombies yet, though we have had the house in Revelations, which in the code is referenced as Sheffield, and though the house and the scenery in the intro cutscene of Revelations was designed based off of the Sheffield's countryside, we still haven't technically been to England. Who knows, maybe London was where Dr. Monty used to live while he was friends with the Shadow Man before the Shadow Man was turned by the Apothecans. I'm going to say it right now, by all evidence that we have, that when Black Ops 4 releases, our 2 maps are going to be Mob of the Dead and London. If my Mob of the Dead Easter egg theory is correct and we do get a London map which will look into the backstory of Dr. Monty, we could be off to an amazing start of Black Ops 4 Zombies, where potentially we could have some sort of form of showdown in DLC 4 Black Ops 4, where the transit crew will have a face-off against Dr. Monty. That'd be really awesome, and thinking of a great way to end off this entire storyline once and for all, imagine if Treyarch made their last DLC Easter egg an 8-player Easter egg, where you have the transit crew as well as our our Origins and Black Ops 3 crew, working together to finally get to this big massive boss fight where all 8 players are in together to fight off whoever it is that they need to fight off, whether it's the Shadow Man, Dr. Monty, or anyone else. I'm getting way ahead of myself at the minute by about 2 years or so, but there are some possibilities right there that could happen. Now the third map is one that we might see as a DLC map at some point, and at this point I feel like most of the community has forgotten about this map, as it was actually where a lot of people thought we were going to go for DLC 4 for Black Ops 3 instead of Revelations, and that is to Egypt. There are quite a few different reasons and hints as to why we might have a map in Egypt. To start off, this list is going to be in the Origins ending cutscene, knowing full well that Jason Blundell plans his maps years ahead before we even see them. In the Origins ending cutscene, we can see a bunch of items that we can recognise from previous zombie installments: Mystery Box, Panzer's Teddy Bear, and even the Zetsubou No Shima aeroplane on the shelf. One thing that still hasn't been recognised inside the world of zombies is this: the Eye of Horus, otherwise known as the All-Seeing Eye, which is also the symbol of the Illuminati, which they call the Eye of Providence. But what's interesting is that Richtofen is actually part of the Illuminati, as we can see from our storyline poster that Dr. Edward Richtofen joins the Illuminati, August 30th, 1925. To give you an idea of timescale, Richtofen joins the Illuminati between the maps of Origins and Mob of the Dead. So Origins is the only map that we see Richtofen in before he had become part of the Illuminati. We also see various other Illuminati nods across different zombie maps, which I'll show you on screen if you want to check them out yourself. But the Eye of Horus is a big part of Egyptian culture, and without going into too much depth with it, it's a symbol of good luck, and it's meant to be the all-seeing eye, so the eye of God almost, and the eye watches over everybody. That's our first tie with the potential Egyptian map. The next piece of evidence that we can draw from Trag would be the tie from H.P. Lovecraft. As we're all aware by now, Shadows was heavily influenced by H.P. Lovecraft, and specifically the Call of Cthulhu. If Trag were to carry on this storytelling inside of zombies by being influenced by Lovecraft, then they could take inspiration from another H.P. Lovecraft book called Imprisoned with the Pharaohs, in which Houdini wakes up to find that he is in a tunnel underneath what he believes to be the Sphinx of Giza. He tries to free himself by walking in the dark towards a draft which he believes is coming from the outside, but he actually just went further inside of these tunnels, where he encounters half mummy half human characters as well as a 5-headed tentacle monster. Sounds very similar to the direction Black Ops 3 made, and I can only suspect that Black Ops 4 could easily make just as much as a jump into their next game to include not only a Magora which has 3 heads, but a boss zombie with 5 heads to tie into this story. The last point I have for an Egypt map that makes sense goes back to a trailer that we had before Black Ops 3 came out, promoting Black Ops 3 itself. It was called Back in Black, and we had a bunch of different text on screen. In one single frame we had a coordinate which leads to Cairo, which is not far away from the pyramids of Giza. In this frame you can also see the number 115 3 times, and also the mark of the beast from Shadows of Evil. Again, as you're all aware, Trag do everything for a reason. There is nothing that they do just because it looks good or just because of any other reason. Everything has a specific reason, and we still don't understand why there are coordinates to Egypt at this point in time. But for now, that's going to be it for the video. If I find any more evidence for other Black Ops 4 maps we could have, then I'll be sure to make a video on them. And if you know of any other maps with actual evidence from Trag games that could be inside of Black Ops 4, then again, please let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video for more zombies content, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.